Delphi versus Stephano, game 1. Ready, set, go.
I already played it. You're so far behind now.
Am I?
I don't live by the rules. I just go. I toot my own horn.
You toot your own horn.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Okay.
I go to the beat of my own drums.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty excited for this. I think Delphi has probably been the biggest surprise thus far, making it so far. He went through 2 Korean players, actually 3 technically if you count Binsky Light because he's Korean, but doesn't really count.
So it is alternate attack Delphi against M does not equal Stephano. That's what that means.
Yeah.
Actually, it would be a sideways, like a slash.
How do you make that character?
I have no clue.
I know a lot of Europeans do it, but I don't know how they do it.
I'm going to try. Guess and check. 1 1 1. 1 1 2. 1.
You know when do you remember in Brood War when you wanted to be all cool and you just try to like use those like fancy symbols in your profile and you just like
hey, how are you?
Yeah. I used to do that all the time when I was like 10 years old.
We were cool. We were cool back then.
Or you know when you do the the funny caps like hi.
Yeah, like I would do what would I do? Oh, okay.
Like big little big little big little. Oh yeah.
That for an N.
Mm-hmm.
Or remember. We had this is my favorite. T. Look at that T.
Yep. Oh, I had several accounts that had that. Oh, both players are going to be blocking each other's hatcheries, and they each wanted to go for like a 16 hatch, but none of them can. Delphi instead opts to go for a 15 pool.
Hold on, I'm still typing. Thanks.
Nobody. Oh yeah, the stream can see that. I can't.
Yeah, it says thanks. Thanks for watching, of course.
Oh. I killed yours. Why? Yes, he did. So both players have their hatch and their pool down. Damn. Stephano is getting an earlier gas than Delphi. Slightly earlier. I don't think it's too significant.
Nope. I would say Stephano has a slight advantage because of that.
I would agree with you, Sir Andre.
And the only reason why... Oh, actually, no. I would say Delphi has a slight advantage with that. You agreed with the wrong conclusion. How do you feel now?
Well, I feel like I'm not a Zerg player. That's how I feel.
Well, the reason why I say that is because the defensive player, normally when it's just slightly defensive, you're able to put out those drones a little bit more. You have a little bit more economy. It won't be that big of a deal, though. You are absolutely right. Duran Parsi.
Oh, thank you, Andre.
You're welcome. So we're going to be going on with this. We'll see what they actually do with this gas, whether it's going to be going for that Baneling Nest or it's going to be something else. These players do have a pretty standard style of ZVZ. I don't expect anything too crazy. But I think the fan favorite going into this is actually Stephano. Sorry, Delphi. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Stephano is just such an amazing player. He makes very little mistakes. And his macro, I think, is the most defining characteristic of his playstyle. I mean, actually, I was watching the LDLC tournament in Paris. That's happening today. And he was playing Bling, actually, in the quarterfinals of that tournament. Mm-hmm. And he maxed in 12 minutes, which is actually insane.
12 minutes?
Yeah. Which is pretty crazy.
12 minutes?
Yes.
In a real game?
In a real game. Versus Bling.
Versus Bling.
Yep.
ZVZ. What did he max on?
ZVP.
Oh, yeah, of course. ZVP.
Yeah, it was pretty much all roaches.
Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, just Stephano's macro is insanely good.
Delphi gets another kill.
Yes, he does.
And he's going to get great scouting.
Yep. So he's got 2 lings in the main of Stephano, so we can see, hopefully, if the Baneling Nest is being built.
More importantly, he wants to see that gas.
Yep.
And he's going to click on the gas and say, oh, okay, you mined almost 300 gas. I know you're not really capable of doing any all-ins, just because your gas count is quite limited. Well, actually, he is capable of doing all-ins, it's just they're really weak. That's what I want to say.
Yeah. Agreed. So, I mean, both players right now, it looks like Stephano's going for like defensive Banes, right?
Yeah, and Delphi's going for the offensive Banes.
Yes, he is. So, you know, defenders usually have an advantage in StarCraft 2.
Big advantage.
So, unless Stephano completely screws his micro, which I would not say he would. I love the fact that he's making this evolution chamber, which is going to stop Delphi from getting around in the creep. It's creating a small avenue for which Delphi can attack.
I would actually say that Stephano actually needs to push out right now. I don't think he actually stays safe like this. He sees all the banelings actually waddling back. What he should actually do, realize that his opponent has not gone for a super all-in. It's just this passive-aggressive all-in to force a lot of banelings out of his opponent. Make sure that Delphi is making banelings for himself, making Zerglings for himself, because you can see the income tab. It's 36, harvest 36, but because Stephano has a lot more units out on the field than his opponent, he can actually force his opponent to stop going so many drones and go for the mass ban. Somehow or another, though, Stephano has more droned and more units than his opponent.
Yep, and again,
I don't know how he does this. It's absolutely insane. I have no clue how he does this, how he's able to just get more stuff with the same sort of material.
Yeah,
it's
and you know, I think Stephano and Sen is another player who plays like that, where he just has so many units and you just can't understand how he does it. It's, you know, Sen seems to always have more units than his opponent, just the same as Stephano. You know, I think that's why they're you know, really some of the two best Zerg players in the world. Not even, you know, counting, you know, not even to say, you know, the best Zerg players outside of Korea, but really the best Zerg players in the world. I think, you know, they are two of the best, along with, like, you know, Leenock and Lucky and Nesty and Dongregu. I think those are, you know.
Yep, safe to say that. Now, Delphi is going for that Spire tech. If Stephano actually understands this, identifies his opponent and what he is doing, then he will be able to get a lot of damage done on his opponent. Oh
my God, that was a great trade for Delphi.
This is what Stephano basically said. I will give you 5 banelings for your 2. Yeah. And Delphi said, yes. And then he went. Now, there is a +1 attack timing for Stephano. If he actually takes it, he'll be in a great position. Although, I don't know. He hasn't identified it, and he has gone for a faster third. So this could be a defensive +1 roach over his opponent, but it's
going to leave him very susceptible to mutas.
Yes, that's the big problem, of course. And what does he actually do here? The third is actually under a little bit of attack. Stephano should be cleaned up relatively easily. Bailing's going to go off unnecessary.
But again,
roughness.
Look at the supply. Pretty nice advantage, because if you look at the units tab, lots of roaches versus only 6 Zerglings and 1 Baneling. So actually, as you said, you know, Stephano has a really nice timing before these mutas pop out, but he's not really
going to go for the natural, though. He's going to go for the third and deny this. And
I like that, because Delphi's going to have to cancel this.
He will have to cancel it, but he's going to lose all of his roaches. There's no way they can actually stay alive. It's just impossible.
Yep. But, I mean, it's a good trade, unless Stephano moves all these other roaches and loses, you know, all, like, 20 of them.
Jesus crikey.
Yeah, so Delphi does cancel it, but yeah, now all these roaches are going to die.
Yep. And right now, what does Stephano do from here?
He's killing drones right now, and I like that, actually.
Yeah, he's killing drones. This is kind of weird from Delphi that he's actually suiciding, but this is a pretty hefty investment. Let's go ahead and look at the units lost tab. You can see significantly more for Stephano at this point in time. Just about 1,000 mineral and gas difference. It is mineral plus gases over there. So that does give Delphi the advantage. Positionally, let's go ahead and look at it. It does look like spore crawlers are being put down all over the place. He doesn't really have that many queens. So these mutas actually have a lot of capabilities to do good damage. We'll see if he actually does it.
Yep, they do. And the spores are actually not yet done. You know, so Stephano, Delphi did take out 1, and he looks like he's going to be taking out this evolution chamber. Now, there's not much that Stephano can do about it.
Yep,
and some overlords as well. So Delphi is doing a great job, and now, you know, because he has such a big meta count, he is going to be establishing pretty good map control, and now Queen's going to get taken out as well. So Delphi's doing some great damage. He did lose a couple mutas there, but again, 13 mutalisks is enough to really keep your opponent not feeling comfortable to move out. But Stephano is saying, you know what, I'm actually going to move out anyways. I don't care what the threat of mutas is, and I like this decision because you want to move out as a Zerg player and deny this expansion.
But he's going to lose all of these roaches yet again. This is like the Mondragon style of just having roaches out and forcing your opponent to, even though they have more mobility than you, you're just so powerful with your roaches in and of itself that you can commit those units going back. But Delphi did switch up, so he has tons and tons of roaches. He cleans this up at the rate of 300 1,400 minerals. Again, let's go look. And let's go ahead and look at the units lost tab. It is 5,000 to 3,100, so now increased his advantage by just about 1,000 resources, looking oh so good. And Delphi might actually go for and push on his advantage, but this is not the best time to do that because 20 Hydras are in queue.
Yep. And if you look at the income tab, Stephano has a huge income lead right now.
Actually, Stephano doesn't have a lot of roaches out in the field. Now, finally, Hydras are going to pop out.
But these Meatless are, yeah.
It's going to be difficult to call because the roaches are actually doing a lot of damage against those Hydras. There's no tanking unit. Normally, there are roaches out on the field that can actually tank your opponent's roaches. The Hydras can dish out all that damage. We don't see that this time around, and Stephano might be in a little bit of trouble here as Delphi just sharks around with these roaches, picking off anything that he can.
Yeah, but I think Stephano just has so many roaches. So many Hydralisks. But actually,
it's going to be tough. Zerglings are going to enter here, but they do get two-shotted because that Carapace upgrade was denied before. Now, finally, roaches are going to enter the field. +2 attack is actually finished for Stephano, so these Hydras and roaches do extra damage, but there might be too much here. Delphi is going to take out all the Hydras. Only 4 remaining. That's going to represent a lot of the DPS. Yes, he will take that out. It will not be enough. Stephano is looking like he will lose game number 1. And this is going to be so difficult, of course, in a best-of-3 series. This is his tournament life at stake and Season 3 tournament life at stake.
Yep. And Delphi is just barreling straight into the main base of Stephano that only has 3 roaches and 1 queen. And yeah, Stephano is not looking like he's in a good position at all.
No, he's not. He has to actually remove all of his drones from mining at his main. He might actually pull off drones. In the meantime, additional roaches are being funneled down into that third. The roach warren is actually being targeted, so pretty soon he will have no roaches to actually work with. A very peculiar place to put that. So yes, Stephano is committed to only making Zerglings and Hydras at this point, and that's not a position that he wants to be in with this limited economy. Stephano's going to be completely surrounded over here at the third, and he is absolutely dead. We should be seeing GG any time now because roaches against +1 roaches against Zerglings that don't have any upgrades on them. No bueno. No bueno at all.
But that being said, Stephano still has a pretty significant worker advantage. And Delphi is not really mining his third base at all. It's really still, for all intents and purposes, 3 base versus 2 base. And actually, Stephano seems to be holding this off. And Delphi is actually retreating, if only for a moment, because he's just rallying more roaches over. He's just only producing roaches and rallying them. But we're going to have to see if Stephano can actually somehow manage to hold this off. He's actually starting to reproduce Hydras. 9 more Hydras in production. And I think once these Hydras pop, he might be in a position to hold off Delphi.
I don't know. This is going to be still very, very tough. Remember, he has that Glee Reconstitution. Stephano, I think, does as well. 2-1 now. So he's a little bit better with his upgrades. Let's go ahead and look at Delphi's upgrades. 2-0, just about to finish. So he wants to just wait a little bit until he can get those upgrades. Now finally targeting the Hydras. Remember, the Hydras are so delicate. They don't actually want to be taking any form of damage, but they dish out a ton. So we're going to see Delphi just picks off a little bit and then just retreats.
Right. And Stephano's actually trying to use his drones to tank, and actually they're doing a pretty good job. And now Zerglings are coming out to reinforce those Hydralisks, and he keeps pushing Delphi back. And Delphi might have to kind of regroup and do something else because...
How the hell did Stephano do this? I thought for sure he was dead. I thought for sure he was dead in the water. Somehow Stephano's coming out on top. What the hell?
Yeah, and actually if you look at the army tab, he's evened up the army tab. He's still somehow ahead in economy.
This is ludicrous,
again,
man.
Delphi just is getting his third saturated. So right now, the game has really just evened out somehow.
If you saw the positions before, you would say Stephano has no chance with all those roaches inside of his main. I guess he just didn't take out enough drones. Yeah, you can see only 18 workers killed. There should be a lot more killed than that. 41 harvests to 53, so Stephano going to retain his advantage in that economy.
Yep.
So he's looking really, really strong, especially with that upgrade advantage. He does have 2-1 over his opponent's 2-0, +2 Carapace coming out for Stephano, +1 for Delphi. So Delphi, I know that feeling. It's like, oh, I'm trying to break you. It's just like I'm on the verge of doing it. It's just you will not go down. And Stephano, I know this rattles Delphi's just confidence because it's like, oh, normal Zergs would have died right there.
Yep.
How the hell did you live?
But Stephano is no normal Zerg. That being said, I love the fact that Delphi is transitioning to Infestors. because Hydras are very flimsy units.
Yeah,
and some really well-placed fungals could do wonders for Delphi right now.
It's tough. You need to have a lot of patience and control when you're actually dealing with infestors against Hydras. The way you actually deal with it is just fungal growth and back away. There's no need to actually continue going. And you try to isolate the roaches first before you actually get the Hydras. And if you can do that, you can isolate one of them, then the other one is significantly weaker. So we'll see if he's actually able to do this. I've seen this happen actually a ton of times. Demanga loves this style. Roach Hydra, or at least he did used to love this style. I don't know if he still does it. He was doing it just about a couple months ago, like 1 or 2 months ago. But he could have changed from there. We'll see what Stephano can do with this forest. Really, I think the battle actually is decided by the ability of Delphi and whether or not he can actually perform the correct fungal growth, bottle up his opponent's units, and then go from there.
Yep, and I think the other key here is going to be if both players are really going for like an all-in, like big attack right now, or B, oh my God, nice fungals there on the Hydros.
Good job.
Exactly what he needed to do.
And there it is, isolating the roaches. He's looking in a really good position. Again, a great fungal growth, and that's going to cripple Stephano. Look at how many units are actually so dead right there. And even with the superior upgrade, 2-2 just about to finish right now. Fungal growth, no more fungal growth actually on the field. Delphi should back up from here because he is suffering a lot of losses. Those Hydras do a lot of damage, but there's another fungal.
And this is looking good
Look
for
at
Delphi.
that. Delphi is able to come on top, and now it's just basically roaches on roaches with 3 Hydras out in the field, but it's not enough. That doesn't represent enough DPS. And the Hydras, no, you cannot run away.
Yeah, that's like a good joke.
I know. It's like, hey, let me go ahead. Oh, okay. I don't have creep.
Yep. So Delphi is backing off now, and I love that. You know, he got a great trade on his opponent.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at the army tab, he's very much far ahead. And what Delphi can do right now is he can feel a lot more comfortable. You can even go take a 4th base, which I definitely think he should look to do very soon because you know, his natural expansion is going to dry up, and he's really going to be only on 1 mining base. And, you know, you don't really want to rush and try to end this game too early because as we've seen from earlier in the game, Stephano is just so good at holding off attacks. So really, Delphi needs to take a 4th base, and right now he's in a position where he can comfortably do it.
Yeah. You know, I think building on the infestor count is fine as well. He can go for that and then just go for a big timing. Although his opponent doesn't actually know, or excuse me, Delphi doesn't actually know that Stephano has taken a 4th, so it is kind of troublesome. But here we go. Delphi is pushing out. He does have the supply lead at 157 against 134, so he's looking fairly good. If ever these roaches are caught out, which they might actually, oh my God, that was so close. Stephano could have actually been completely surrounded by those roaches, and all of a sudden you're in a bad position. But the power of those infestors, man, that's going to be a key. Let's see if he can actually do it, because it's a little bit harder to do this defensively. There's the fungals that go on. Nice
fungals by Delphi. And yeah, and now dropping the infested Terrans too. And Delphi is in a great position.
Yeah.
Stephano's supply is plummeting right now. And it looks like Delphi is going to finish the job that he started about 10 minutes ago.
Transfuse actually goes up. Drones are actually going to get into the battle, but is this going to be enough? I don't think so. Delphi is going to continue on pushing forward and making sure that the last time doesn't happen again. Stephano will not be able to hold off this time around, although I said it last time that he wouldn't be able to. So it definitely is a possibility. A couple of poops happen all over the place, but it's you know, just going to add insult to injury.
Yeah, I fail to see how Stephano can come back a second time, but if he does, no, he says grats, GG, and Delphi takes a 1-0 lead.
Yeah. So Delphi 1 game away, and let me tell you that he looked really good. Stephano looked very impressive, don't get me wrong. Holding off that push felt impossible, but the simple army composition difference and the patience from Delphi. I said you need a lot of patience when you're using infestors. You can't be so aggressive with it. You can't just go and attack and all of a sudden you're winning.
Right.
Because if you're in equal force against equal force, you're actually behind. The Hydros have a lot more DPS than kill your roaches a lot faster. But no, he said, okay, I'm going to weaken your units, and as soon as I weaken them, then I go.
Yeah, that was great by Delphi.
Yep.
Really good play.
Yeah.
But again, that being said, I mean, the fact that Stephano held on for so long is actually insanely impressive.
Yeah, it's definitely a testament to his
macro
skill.
incredible.
So we're going to go to a break, and we're going to be back with game number 2 between Stephano and Delphi.
I'm excited.
And Delphi, the underdog in this situation, is up 1-0. So don't go away, ladies and gentlemen. We will be back.